today's project, you're going to need a lot of different kinds of yarn. First, you'll need a 4mm hook, a stitch marker, a pair of scissors, a darning needle, and maybe I use this to help me stuff the fiber fill down into the arms and legs. Set this stuff aside. You will need some black yarn and some white yarn. You'll need 4 choices of yarn for the dress and the skirt, and I have chosen yellow and green, pink, and this color of blue. You also need either light blue, or in my case I'm using mint green for the body. You'll also need a red color for your hair. And then lastly, some fiber fill. Get your hook and your body color ready, and we'll start making the arms. Okay, I forgot to mention that you would need a pair of safety eyes. I'm using size 10, but you can make your eyes if you like and sew them on, or you can use any kind of safety eyes you like, but that's what I'm going to use. So first we need a magic circle. Let's try that again. And in that magic circle, you will need 6 single crochets. In the first stitch, we're going to place 1 single crochet. In the second stitch, 2 single crochet. In the third stitch, 1 single crochet. In the fourth stitch, 2 single crochets. In the fifth stitch, 1 single crochet. And in the sixth stitch, 2 single crochet. You should now have 9 stitches around. Row 3, we're just going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch around from rounds 3 through round 10. You'll notice that on this round, your work is curving inward. We're going to fix that in a minute. Once you finish round 3, you need to turn your work right side out. And this pesky tail, just stuff it down inside the hand there. So for the next 7 rows, place 1 single crochet in each stitch around. At the end of each round, you'll still have 9 stitches. Okay, I've made it to my last stitch, but I'm not going to fasten it off yet. I'm going to change colors. And then I'm going to tie the 2 ends back here in a knot. So first I'm going to cut off my yarn. Then I'm going to tie it in a knot. Then I'm going to cut off the excess yarn. And these little tails, we're just going to stick down inside. So now with your new color, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch around for a total of 5 rounds. At the end of each row, you should still have 9 single crochets. Okay, so I'm about to do my last stitch. In the very next stitch, you'll want to slip stitch and chain 1, and then cut a long tail to sew on the arm. And your arm should look like this. So now we're going to stuff it. Leave a little room at the top because we're going to sew the end together. So put your yarn on your hook, on your needle, and fold it in half with the knot on the side. And we're just going to go under each stitch. On both sides, all the way across. When you get to the end, I'm going to zoom in just a little. I go through this very last stitch, and I'll go through it twice because we're going to make a knot there. So once you have one color done, you need to pause and make another one with a different color on it. So you'll need 2 arms. So go ahead and put your arms aside and get out your black yarn, and we'll begin with the legs. Okay, once again we're going to start with the magic ring. And we're going to place 6 single crochets in the magic ring. Then in each of those 6 stitches, we're going to place 2 single crochets. Whoops. You should now have 12 stitches. For the next round, we're just going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch around. Don't forget, on this round it will curl in, and so we'll just have to turn over right side out. Okay, so I'm to my last stitch. Don't finish off that stitch yet. We're going to change colors to white. And then we're going to double knot the two. And fasten off your black yarn. Now we're going to turn our work right side out. Push all of our little tails down inside. And replace my stitch marker. So now what you need to do is do one row of white, then change to black, and do one row of black, then change it back to white, then do one row of black, of white, change back to black, and then once I get to the end of the black row, then I'll return to you and I'll tell you what else to do. Okay, I'm down to my last stitch. We're going to change to our main color. I'm going to fasten off my black. Tie my double knot. Stuff my tails down inside. So you still should have 12 stitches around. So now with this color, we're going to place one single crochet in each stitch around for 7 rounds. At the end of each round, you should still have 12 stitches. So I'm going to finish my 7 rounds off camera, and when I return, we'll go from there. Okay, I've made it clear around. If this is your first, excuse me, this is your first leg, you will need to slip stitch into the next stitch and then fasten off. But this is my second leg. So we're going to move on and fasten the two together. So you take your first leg and your second leg and you slip stitch them together. And then you just place one single crochet in each stitch around this leg. And then when you come to the last stitch on this leg, you go through it and then you go through the stitches on the other side. And you make a single crochet. And then you repeat it and go one single crochet in each stitch around until you're at the end. Okay, so now you should have something that looks like this. We're going to take a moment here and we're going to stuff the legs. So once your legs are stuffed, now we're going to go around the whole body, and you should have 24 stitches now. We're just going to place one stitch. We're just going to place one single crochet, in each stitch around for 3 rows. Alright, I got done with that. Now we need to fasten off this yarn and set it aside and get out a different colored yarn. First, before we do that, we need to count over 12 stitches. And place a stitch marker and hopefully, if it's not centered, which mine is not, I'm going to move this over one stitch. And then I'm going to count the 12. You want your 2 spaces to be centered. So now I'm going to add my new color. And double knot these together. Add my stitch marker back. So in the next 12 stitches, you will do it with your new color. Just one single crochet in the next 12 stitches. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And you can remove that stitch marker, we don't need it no more. Chain 1 and turn. For the next 3 rows, you're going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch around for 3 rows. Don't forget to chain 1 and turn. When mine is done, I'll return. Okay, I've done my 4 rows. Now we need to change our yarn again. Chain 1 and turn. Fasten off your other color. And double knot the 2 ends. And do the same thing with your second color. 1 single crochet in each stitch around for 4 rounds. And once you come over here, once you get done with your yellow, you need to fasten it off. And then come over to your other side and do the same thing with 2 different colors. Once I get all 4 of my colors done, I'll be back. Okay, so once you have that done, you should have something that looks like this, with a lot of ends everywhere. So what we're going to do now, is we're going to take some black, your needle, and we're going to sew each side up. I'm going to zoom in just a little, maybe. Let's start on the inside, I think. Just go behind the stitches. And go back and forth. So it looks like that it's been sewn together, which actually it is. You can do a little stitch work and make X's back here, or however you want. If you have a better idea of how the dress should be, the top part anyway, or even the skirt, you can make it however you wish. This is how I'm going to do mine. So that side is done. I'm going to bring my yarn back in here and trail it down, going through the stitches like I'm weaving my ends in, and then tie it in a knot at the bottom with the other end so it don't come unloose. So it don't come undone. May have to turn it out just a little bit to do this part. And then I'm going to do the other side. Once my other side is done, then I will return to you. Okay, so this is what I have so far. All my ends are stuffed inside. And now we're going to make a slip knot and add our new color. Time to make the head. We're going to start with a single crochet, and we're going to do one single crochet in each stitch around. And I'll be back. You should have, move these scissors out of the way, 24 to 26 stitches. Now we're going to start the decrease rounds. So, for this round, one single crochet in the first stitch, one single crochet in the second stitch, and then a single crochet decrease. One single crochet in the next stitch, one single crochet in the following stitch, and then a single crochet decrease. This is your repeat for this round. One single crochet in the first two stitches, and then a single crochet decrease. I'm at the end and I have 2 stitches left, so I'm just going to place one single crochet in each stitch. So now it's just a minute. Sorry about that. So this next row, we're just going to place single crochet decreases all the way around. Whoops. So now we need to stuff the body. Keep stuffing the body until you get it as full as you'd like. I'm not going to make you watch me stuff the body because I'm sure we all know how to put fiber fill in there. So I'll be back when mine's done. So now I have 10 stitches. So now we're going to place 2 single crochets in each stitch around. Now I have 20 stitches. Next round, 1 single crochet in the first stitch and then 2 single crochets in the following stitch. One single crochet in the next stitch and two single crochets in the following stitch. This is your repeat for this round. 1 single crochet in the first stitch and 2 single crochets in the second stitch. Now I have 26 stitches around. This is your last row of increases, so we're going to do 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the second stitch, and 2 single crochets in the third stitch. One single crochet in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the second stitch, and 2 single crochets in the third stitch. This is your repeat for this round. 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the second stitch, and 2 single crochets in the third stitch. When this row is done, I will return. I now have 36 stitches around. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put 1 single crochet and each stitch around for 6 rounds. At the end of each round, I will have 36 stitches. Depending on whether you had 24 or 26 stitches to begin with, your stitch count might be different than mine, and that's fine. But this is what we're going to do for the next 6 rounds. 1 single crochet in each stitch around. When I get my 6 rounds done, I will return. I would like to mention that when you're doing these 6 rows, that your crochet work will start turning downward. That's fine, it's normal. I'm on my 2nd row, so it'll happen in between the 2nd and 3rd row. All you have to do is just bring it back up. Eventually it will stay up. Okay, I've got my 6 rows done. Now we're going to put the eyes in. So I'm thinking, maybe there. You can make any kind of eyes you want and sew them on, or you can use safety eyes, which is what I'm using this time around. I think these are a size 10, but you can use any size you want. We have 3 rows left. They are the decrease rows. So I put it in between rows 4 and 5 with 5 holes in between. So, well, let's not forget to put the backs on them. So this is what you should have so far. So now it's time to decrease. So we're going to place 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the second stitch, and then 1 single crochet decrease. 1 single crochet in the first 2 stitches, and then a single crochet decrease. This is your repeat for this round. 1 single crochet in the first 2 stitches, and then a single crochet decrease. For the second to the last row, we're going to place 1 single crochet in the first stitch, and then a single crochet decrease. 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and a single crochet decrease. This is your repeat for this row. 1 single crochet, and then a single crochet decrease. So now I have 18 stitches, and this is what your head should look like so far. We're going to take a moment and we're going to stuff the head, and I'll be back when mine is done. Last row. This row we're just going to place a single crochet decrease all the way around. Okay, just did my last single crochet decrease. So in the next stitch, you're going to place a slip stitch and chain 1. Fasten off, leaving a long tail to sew in the head and hide your yarn. Then pull that yarn through to make a knot. So get your needle and place your yarn on it. I'm going to zoom in so you can watch me do this part. We're going to go down and through like this. We're going to go in between the stitches all the way around. Or you can just go in and out and in and out. That probably didn't sound very good. And once you get back around to the beginning, you're just going to pull tight. And close that circle. Then we're going to pull up a couple stitches and we're going to make a knot. So once you have that done, you can take your needle and find a hole, doesn't matter really where, and go out somewhere else. Make sure you don't split your work, because you will be able to tell. Then we're going to go back into that same hole that we just came out of, and we're going to come out somewhere else. This is how we hide our yarn. You don't have to weave it in because we're hiding it in our work. And then I'm going to go back in one more time and come out another hole. I'm going to pull tight on the yarn, clip it with the scissors, and then it'll suck right in. So far, this is what you should have. Let's zoom out. So next, we're going to make the skirt. So now, using the same colors that we used for the top, we're going to make a slip knot, put it on our hook, and then chain 7. We're going to place, starting with the second chain from the hook, one single crochet in each stitch across. You can do this however you like, but I use the back bumps, so that's what I'm going to do. When you get to the end of the row, you should have 6 single crochets. You're going to chain 1 and turn and place 1 single crochet in each stitch across. We're going to do this until we have a total of 6 rows. So when I get my 6 rows complete and weave in my ends, then I will return. Don't forget this very last stitch. It can be tricky to find. And don't forget your chain 1 and turn. I'll be right back. Okay, so now we're going to sew these little pieces together. So arrange them however you want them to be. I've already started. We're going to sew them together like we sewed the shirt together. So just take a few minutes here and sew these together. Make sure all 4 of them are sewed together. You can put them any way you want. You can put them in different directions. It's all up to you. And when mine are all sewn together, I will return. Okay, so this is what you should have so far. So what we need to do now is take this, and you can put the skirt on however you like. I'm going to put it on. I'm going to sew it on. Might need to stretch it a little bit, but I'm going to sew it on the very bottom. I'll zoom in a little bit. I'm going to put it on so that we hide these stitches here where the 2 colors come together. Don't forget to sew it once you get it placed where you want it. You can use pins to hold it in place. But don't forget to sew these 2 pieces together in the back. I'm just going to use black since black is on my needle. And when I get mine done, I will return and we'll go from there. Okay, so this is what my skirt looks like. It's nothing too difficult. I wanted to make this pattern easy for any new beginners. So since we already have black on our needle, we're going to come down here and we're going to put stitch work on the legs. So what I do is I just come out somewhere and I go in, say here. That looks good. Now we're going to put the little X's or the little lines in it. Okay, so now we're going to sew on the arms. You place the arm at the top of the color and in the middle of the leg. And you just go down right beside the arm. and come out the back or something. You have to excuse me, I've been sick all week. I have a stuffy nose and I'm losing my voice, so hopefully we can get through the rest of this. But I might have to clear my voice several times, and I'm sorry about it, but we do what we have to do. Sometimes sewing on the arms can be hectic. Once you come back through, you're going to have to go up. Let's see if we can zoom in just a little so I can show you where I'm at. Here's where you crocheted the sides together. And so we're going to come up underneath that. And then we're going to go down over the top and down through the body. Once you do one, you just move on to the next one. And then once you get to the side, we're going to go down over the side. And then we're going to come out at the bottom, close to the bottom of the work. Now you can have, zoom out just a little. You can have your arms stick out like this if you like, but I don't like my arms sticking out like that. So we're going to zoom back in and I'll show you how to take care of that. You find out where the end of your arm is going to be. You have to move your yarn down there. Once you have your yarn down where the bottom of your hand is, you're going to go underneath the arm. I'll pull up the stitches and then I'll show you. Like that. Put your needle through there. And as you pull tight, it will go tight against your body. And then you just go back in underneath somewhere. And we're going to come out in a hole in the back. So now what I will do, and see, now your arm is stuck down and you can't get it off. Now what I'm going to do off camera is I'm going to fasten on this arm the same way and bring it out the back where this tail is and then I'm going to knot the two tails together and hide it in my work. Once this is done, we will move on and make her face. Okay, so now we're going to do the nose. We're going to go right down under the eyes on the next line there. Excuse me. And we're going to go over 3 holes. 1, 2, 3. First we're going to go in through the head on the side so we can make our tail later. I'm going to go right there. And then I'm going to go around. I'm going around this spot a couple of times to make the nose. To make it really stick out. And then I'm going to go back through this hole and out the tail, out where the tail is. And pull up on the nose just a little from where I went in so many times. So there she has a nose. I'm going to double knot these two and hide it in my work. When I come back, we'll do the mouth. Okay, so with black, we're going to do the mouth. We're going to come in the same way, through the side of the head. We're going to go a line underneath the nose. And under the eye. We're going to give her a smiley face. And then we're going to give her little lines to hold it in place. One more. She looks like her mouth was sewn shut. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to double knot this and hide it in my work. And then we can set this doll aside. And you need to pull out your red yarn and something to go around it, like a DVD or a CD. And we're going to make her hair. And I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm going to use this DVD. If you haven't seen this series, the 100s, you need to see it because I love it. Anyway, We're going to take our red yarn and we're going to go around the DVD the long way about 30 times. And I'll be back when I've gotten about 30. Okay, so I ended up going 40 times around, and I'm going to cut my yarn from the rest of it. And then I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to cut this yarn down here with crappy scissors, obviously. I do need to invest in some new scissors. Okay. So we'll take these short ones out. And we'll get rid of the rest of my yarn. Now we're going to take strands out, 5 strands at a time, and put them in a pile. And when I get all my strands together, I'll be back. Okay, so I got all of my strands laid out here. I'm going to take the yarn from the roll and I'm going to make a slip knot and place it on my hook. And then I'm going to take this yarn and wrap it over put it over the yarn and make a slip knot, or a slip stitch, I'm sorry. I'm going to grab my next batch and put it over that yarn, make another slip stitch. I'm going to continue to do this until I have no more little lumps of yarn. We'll worry about straightening it out later. I hope you can understand me and you can hear me okay. I ain't got much of a voice, but I'm hoping to get this video done and out because I told you I'd get it out at the beginning of the week, and here it is Friday. I'm running like really late. I'm so sorry. So I have 2 more. Last one. Now I'm going to chain 1, fasten off my yarn, and pull it through to make a knot. So now this is what you should have. Something that looks like this. I'll lay it out flat so you can see what it is. So this is what your hair should look like now. And yes, you'll have a lot of ends that are off. We'll take care of that. So now get your doll out. We're going to lay this on top of her head. So this is where it should be laying at, right down the middle. Excuse me. This first end should come down over her nose. So we need to get another piece of red yarn. And put it on our needle. And we're going to sew this onto her head. I start at the back and work my way forward. I'm going to go through this first loop. And then go down in. Go about 3. You're working on the slip stitch part of it. So like in the 3rd stitch, go down through it. And then out somewhere, and then we're going to do what's called a back stitch. It's where you go back in and you pick up the yarn. And that's all I'm going to do until it's fully on her head. So hopefully you can understand that. It's really hard to show you. Let's zoom in just a little. Maybe that'll help. I feel like I'm not explaining it well enough. Just continue to do this until it's all on. And when it gets done, I'll be back and we'll cut the hair. So this is what you should have now. Okay, so this is what you should have now. This is the front side, and this is the back side. If you feel the need, you need to cut the hair, which I do just a little bit. We're going to pull all our hair into the back. And we're just going to cut some off. I missed a few pieces, it looks like. Okay, so that's my Sally doll. Please leave in the comments whether I did a good job on explaining everything, mainly the hair, because I've only done a couple of dolls with hairs. I really hate doing the hairs, but I hope I explained it good, and if not, I'd like to know about it. I don't want to hear any mean comments, but do leave me a comment letting me know how you liked my tutorial and how well I'm doing, if I'm doing well or if I need to practice on a few things. Anyway, I'm so sorry that this got out late. Again, I've been sick and I just didn't have the energy to come over and make it. But now it's done, and hopefully I can get it out to you this weekend. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye.